Brought to you by Penguin.
The Word, on the Translation of the Bible, by John Barton, read by Neil Gardner. If every man's humour were to be followed, there would be no end of translating. Bishop Bancroft at the Hampton Court Conference, 1604. Foreword. Two books, above all others, stimulated me to write this one. The first was George Steiner's now classic After Babel, which I read with enthusiasm when it was first published in 1975, and have never stopped reflecting on. More recently, David Bellos's Is That a Fish in Your Ear, 2011, showed me that it is possible to write accessibly on translation even for readers unfamiliar with the languages discussed. I have myself found wide and encouraging interest in the topic as it pertains to the Bible, and have benefited from a lot of excellent feedback on various talks I have given, much of it from those with no specialist knowledge of either translation or the Bible. A number of friends and colleagues advised me along the way, and I must single out Nicholas King, S.J., himself the translator of the entire Greek Bible, for his sage assessment on both the practical and the theoretical issues the biblical translator faces. This is not a handbook on how to translate the Bible, however, nor a reflection on a personal attempt to do so. It does not chronicle the history of different versions either, but analyzes how translators over the centuries have approached the Bible, and what this means for everyone else. In mapping the field, it draws on some recent contributions to translation studies, but it is not intended to be of interest only to theorists and practitioners of the discipline, but rather to everyone with a stake in the Bible, whether as a document of faith or landmark of culture. The modern translations cited are principally in English, but some examples are taken from other languages I know. Writing this book, I often wished I had command of some of the non-European languages into which the Bible is regularly translated by dedicated linguists seeking to spread the Christian gospel. But I am necessarily restricted to those I can read with understanding. Fortunately, that does include the ancient Hebrew, Aramaic, and Greek, in which the Bible was first written. I draw on dozens of translations, but biblical quotations are from the New Revised Standard Version Anglicized Edition, unless otherwise noted. This has become the default version for much biblical study today. My work on this project has all been conducted after 2014, when I retired as Oriel and Lang Professor of the Interpretation of Holy Scripture at Oxford. I have since been a Senior Research Fellow at Campion Hall, Oxford, which has proved the perfect base for thinking and writing about the Bible. It has been a privilege to be part of such a stimulating, warm and tolerant community. The book is dedicated to all my friends at the Hall with great affection and gratitude. I am grateful to my agent, Felicity Bryan, who so sadly died while the book was in preparation. Felicity was an inspiration and the provider of endless encouragement to me, as to so many others. Warmest thanks now to Catherine Clark, who continues her work for all of us represented by Felicity Bryan Associates. I'm delighted to benefit again from the expert and meticulous copy editing of Lyndon Lawson, and the insight of my editor at Penguin, Ben Senior. With this book, as with my previous one, A History of the Bible, the Book and Its Faiths, he has worked through every line of the text and made detailed suggestions that help me to articulate implications of my arguments I was barely aware of myself.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?